It's Friday. It's like 84 degrees in Miami right now. I'm listening to Tony Robbins all morning. I'm feeling good. Let's do this Q&A.
DreAllDay.com.
What's up, everybody? Dre Baldwin, DreAllDay.com. Welcome to the Q&A. It is Friday, October 10th. You're watching this video on Saturday, October 11th. For those of you who don't know how this Q&A works, I look at all the comments from the previous week's Q&A, which is Q&A number 39. You're watching Q&A 40, where I'm answering the questions from 39. If you got a question, leave it in the comments to this vid. And in Q&A number 41, I'm going to answer your question. Before we get into the actual questions, a couple of things that I need to mention to all of you. The fundamentals. Those of you who follow me on Twitter or Facebook or Instagram. Twitter's Dre All Day. Facebook/Work on Your Game. Instagram is @Dre Baldwin. You follow me in any of those places, you know that I've been tweeting and posting about the fundamentals. Either a video or pictures, and a campaign did with Finish Line, me, Fomer Simpson, Nightwing 2303, and Jay Jones from Kick Genius, where we basically pick our favorite player based on certain skills, ball handling, shooting, dunking, all-around game, and we're going to choose a winner, and then that ultimate winner is going to get a trip to the All-Star Game in New York this February. The vote for the fundamentals is coming up very soon. I am going to make a dedicated video about it to let y'all know when and where to vote, so you'll be able to go directly there and vote for the best person. You're going to vote for my person. That's who it's going to be. I'm going to make a separate video about that so y'all can see who my guy was. If you didn't see who my guy was, first of all, you need to go to my Twitter @Dre All Day, or go to my Facebook page /Work on Your Game, or my Instagram @Dre Baldwin, because the video's on all three places, and you need to see this dude's video and see what he did. If you didn't see that video yet, you are depriving yourself. I'm not joking. I'm not trying to sell you. Go see that video. You'll vote, and the winner is going to get to go to New York for the All-Star Game. I'm going to make a separate video about that when it's time to vote. All right? Second thing, the Work on Your Game merchandise shop. A lot of y'all been asking me, am I going to have hoodies? Am I going to have t-shirts? Am I going to have all that type of stuff? I do have it. It is available, open right now. WOYG.net. WOYG for workonyourgame.net. That's the merchandise store. Get all the merchandise you need right there. Third thing, my annual, this is annual now, it's going to be the second year in a row I did it. NBA season preview. I'm going to do Eastern Conference and Western Conference. I think I'm going to do awards too. So I'm going to do an Eastern Conference, Western Conference preview of teams, how I think teams are going to perform. Separate videos for each one. And I'm going to do awards for the season, a separate video for that. Those are all going to come up before the NBA season starts. And also my favorite, which is when I list the top 5 players at each position in the league right now based on my opinion. I know it's going to be a lot of debate, a lot of discussion, a lot of people not agreeing with me, but I'm good with that. I just had a long text message debate with a couple of my college homies yesterday. So I'm going to put those videos up. Within the next 2 weeks, you're going to see all of those. Season previews, top 5 players at each position. If there's anything else that I should do as far as the video goes to lead up to the NBA season, let me know what. Maybe if it's a good idea, I'll do it. If it's not, maybe I'll think about it for later. But that's it. I've been talking for 3 minutes. We ain't getting no questions yet. Let's get right into the Q&A. First question. Fasil Gibreselassie says, Dre, it's hard. First of all, he calls me coach. I'm not a coach, but all right. He said, is it hard to get a D1 scholarship? What do I need to do to get ready to get the grades? Can tell what I need to do. Well, he said, I already got the grades. Can I tell what he needs to do? Fasil, if you go to my website, the guides and tips page, there is a link. There's a dedicated page on there that tells you what you need to do to get a college scholarship. So go to my guides and tips page on my website, which is DreAllDay.com. So I'm not going to say my website name again for the rest of this vid. So if I say go to such and such page, I'm talking about on DreAllDay.com. That's my website for those of you who don't know. How you wouldn't know, I don't know, but now you do. Guides and tips page, you'll see the link that says about scholarships. Next, Marcus McKinney says, why don't I try other training programs? And he names a couple other people who do training programs to get new drills you haven't done to challenge yourself. Well, Marcus, why don't you do it? If you think it's a good idea, don't tell me to do it, you do it, and then you be the example. Justin Francois Paul says, would I make a J.R. Smith hoop handbook? Yes, I will make a J.R. Smith hoop handbook. And his other comment is, thanks for your advice concerning my school situation. I accepted it. And thank you for the straight answer you gave me last Q&A. You're welcome, Justin. That's what I do. Josh Brown says, Dre, what is best for handling? Using one basketball, two basketballs, or a heavy ball? I do them all, but I am curious. Well, all of them can work. I mean, it's not really a best. There's no one right way to train for basketball. There are a lot of different ways. I'm sure all you watch other people's drills on YouTube besides me, and you see people doing all different stuff. There's no one right way to train. So you do what works best for you. You can do all three if all three work for you. Me, I prefer just using one regular basketball. I have done drills with 2 balls. I have used the heavy ball in the past. But right now, where I'm at right now, I prefer to just use one regular size regulation basketball. But maybe you like 2, maybe you like heavy ball. Whatever works for you. The end result is all that matters. Not how you got it, but the fact that you got it. Jacardi Moultrie says, yesterday my school has open gym. When I got on the court, I was feeling uncomfortable. I never felt that way on the court. Well, Jacardi didn't actually ask a question. He just shared that information. So Jacardi, thanks for letting us know about that. Eshwar Tangarala says, which hoop handbooks will help me finish at the rim better? And your weekly motivation 210, embrace reality, was dope as fuck. Thanks. Well, Eshwar, you're welcome, first of all, and thank you for complimenting weekly motivation number 210. He said, which hoop handbooks will help me finish at the rim better? Well, Eshwar, the great thing about the signature workout programs is that you don't even have to ask which one is better, because all you have to do is see which player it is, and then you'll know. You know, if you watch basketball, how that player plays. So you know what skills you'll be developing. And if you don't know, if you go to hoophandbook.com and you click on any player program, you'll see the description which tells you what skills I decided to focus on for each player. Because you can't encompass any person's entire basketball game in a program. Because no player has a finite level of skills, as any player could decide to add a new skill tomorrow. So you'll see what skills I decided to focus on. I focused on between 3 and 6 skills on every single player. So you'll be able to click on those and see. I don't know what your size is. If you give me your size, I can give you a better answer, a more detailed one. If you're looking to work on finishing on a basic level, you can take a look at the skill programs, which are outside of the signature workouts. And that would be the scoring moves series. I got scoring moves number 1 through 9. So it's 9 separate programs. I got scoring moves packages number 1 and 2. So I suggest you check one of those out first, develop those fundamental skills, and then when you're ready to move on to a more advanced workout, check out one of the signature workout programs. Joshua Rodriguez says, I need help to become more explosive and a bit more crafty or explosive with the ball. I have good dribbles, good shooting, but when I try to create, I often turn the ball over. This happens because I do everything half fast and I don't realize it. How can I become more explosive and or more shifty with the ball? Can I please make a video on that? Well, Joshua, I've already made 4,000 videos on that. You don't need to watch any more videos, Joshua. You just need to start applying the things that you already know you want to do. If you want to become more explosive, that means you need to practice more explosively. So if you're playing half fast, by your definition, that means you probably are practicing half fast. So you need to speed up the way you're practicing, because the way you practice is the way you're going to play. Because when you're practicing, all you're doing is telling your body exactly what you want it to do. You're developing muscle memory by doing the same thing over and over and over again. It's like tying your shoes. You don't ever have to think about that now, because you did it so many times, your body knows exactly how to do it. You could be talking on the phone while tying your shoes. You don't even have to think about what you're doing. You don't even remember that you did it, because you developed that muscle memory. It's the same with basketball. If you want to be explosive on the court, you got to be explosive in your training. So if you think you're not going fast enough, then you need to start practicing fast enough. If you think you're not shifty enough, I have over 500 driving moves posted to YouTube. Actually, no, 2, 4, 6. I got over 700. I got 3 playlists that are full at 200 videos apiece. I'm already on driving moves playlist number 4, which means that's 2, 4, 600, and then whatever's in that 4th playlist. So that's over 700 videos, Joshua. I don't need to make any more videos to help you with that. You need to go do the work. You need to. Watching videos is not going to make you fast. It's not going to make you explosive. You got to go on the court, apply what you already know, and then you'll see the results. Shaquille Manji says, Dre, some of the side hoops in my school aren't exactly 10 feet, so I think shooting on a bit lower hoop will mess up my shot. Well, Shaquille, you practice on it, right? Don't you already know the answer to that? And the answer to your question is, a lot of people ask about that. Like, if I play on a hoop that's not exactly 10 feet, will it mess up my shot? The only thing that's going to mess up your shot is not practicing enough. Don't blame the hoop. Don't blame the double rim. Don't blame it being outside. Don't blame the height of the basket. If that's all you have, then what does it matter what it's going to do? Because you don't have any other options now. If you got a 10-foot regulation hoop and you got one that's smaller and you got a choice between the two, then pick the one that's regulation. But if you only got one hoop, what does it matter? I mean, what other options do you have? Do nothing? That doesn't even make sense, right? Jamie is pro says I was giving vague answers last week. Well, Jamie, I could block you out of the comments here, so then you won't have to worry about my vague answers. Louis says, how you practice making a layup with contact without another person? Well, Louis, you don't. You need to get another person, because that's where contact comes from. Kenneth Stone says, with all these drills, I would like to see the drills implemented in the game by you or a player that you're imitating to show its usefulness. It'd be a good visual reference. A practice versus a game can be really effective. I like the drills. It's just hard to see how it works when executed the way you're performing the drill. Well, Kenny, since I'm showing you the drill, all you got to do is practice it, and then you could go do it in the game, so then you'll see how it works. Why do you have to see somebody else do it first? You don't have to see me do it. You don't have to see no NBA player do it. You can take the skills that you're developing in the drills, which I talk about in almost every video. Understanding when I do the drills and I'm doing these moves and there's nobody playing defense against me, it's not necessarily that you need to do this exact move in the game. I say this over and over again, but I guess I'm gonna have to keep repeating this forever. You're developing skills when you do the drills. When you get into a game, you're not gonna say, okay, let me do that drill that Dre posted on YouTube 3 Tuesdays ago. That's not how it works. When you get into a game, you're gonna react with muscle memory, with the skills you need based on the game situation. So you cannot predict that a game situation is gonna be, all right, I need to do an in and out, crossover, behind the back, step back jumper. You can't predict that that's gonna happen in the game. You don't know how your defender's gonna react. You don't know what the spacing is going to be between the other players on the floor. You just have to react with the skills you have. And the only way to have skills to react with is to have practice enough that you have a quote-unquote bag of tricks deep enough that you'll be able to react with a skill no matter what you face. So it's not about seeing somebody else do a move before you believe you can do it. It's about developing skills so that when you get in the game, you'll be able to pull out whatever you need to pull out. And if you watch any of my game videos where I'm playing somebody one-on-one or 5-on-5, you'll see that I don't even have to use so many moves. I use the moves that are necessary in that situation. I might play a whole game where I don't take more than 2 dribbles on any particular move because that's what I need at that time. Then somebody may say, well, why do you do so many moves? Well, it's better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. Wouldn't you agree? So that's the answer to your question, Ken. Ball is my life. I said it. He says, Dre, what is better, indoor or outside to play basketball? Because my knee is not that good as first. I don't know what that means, but it's not really about better. There is no better. I mean, whatever situation you have, that's what you got to work with. There have been times where all I had was an outdoor court. So whether indoor or outdoor was better didn't matter to me, right? Because I didn't have an indoor court. So it's not like I had a choice. I only had one option, so you got to go with what you have. I heard Cesar Milan, his dog trainer, one time he said, well, millions of people have said this, but I just remember him saying, he said, work with what you have. If all you got is an outdoor court and the basket's 9 feet high, if you have no other choices, what does it matter whether that's better or worse, or if it's going to mess up your shot, or all these other bullshit excuses a lot of you players come to me with? If that's the only option you have, what does it matter? Work with what you got and make the most of it. Saul Rosales says, why not get a basketball skills trainer like Mariah? I don't know who Mariah is, but for basketball, it'd be nice if you smile once in a while, bruh. Well, Saul, you probably should watch more of my videos. They said, why don't I get a basketball skills trainer? Well, Saul, why don't you get a basketball skills trainer? It's the same thing I said in the earlier question. A lot of people in life, it's not necessarily about you, Saul. A lot of people in life will have all these great, unbelievable suggestions for what other people need to be doing. If you have a great idea for what should be done, you set the example by doing it, and then let other people follow your example. Ideas for what somebody else needs to be doing are a dime a dozen. And 99% of people in life go through life. The majority of their ideas are for what somebody else needs to do. They don't have any ideas for what they need to do. And even when they do, they don't do them. They just spend their lives talking about them. So for you, Saul, and for everybody else, you don't need to give anybody else an idea or a suggestion on what they need to do. You need to take suggestions for what you need to do, set the example, and then let other people follow you. Because once you start setting the example, you won't have to tell other people what they should do. I don't tell people most of the time what they need to do. They can see what I'm doing, and then they follow the example. Emma Parrott says, I want to make my middle school team. I'm in 6th grade. I'm 5'7". I want to be a guard. What skills should I do to improve guard skills, like moves, shooting, and ball handling? Well, Emma, I'm assuming that you must be brand new to this channel because I got As I've said every video, over 4,000 vids here. So you asking me what moves you need to do to improve your skills that completely baffles me why you're asking me that question. I got over 4,000 vids here. I got a whole website at hoophandbook.com with skills training programs. There are no certain moves or skills or drills for a guard. That doesn't apply to anything. There are no small forward moves, there are no center moves, there are no point guard drills. You as a player, and that's for you, Emma, and everyone else, you have to decide what your game is. First of all, you got to figure out what your game is. Once you figured out what your game is, then you work on developing the skills that you want to have in your game. If we look at basketball, let's look at Dirk Nowitzki and then let's look at Blake Griffin. They both play the same position, right? Power forward. So if I said do some power forward moves, Blake, he's going to do the things that he does. If I tell Dirk to do some power forward moves, he's going to do the things that he does. They have completely different games. They're both all-stars. They're both really fucking good, but they play the exact same position. So if I tell Derrick Rose and let's say another point guard, let's say Chris Paul, do some point guard moves, they're going to do different things. They have some things that are similar. They have many things that are different. Whereas Derrick Rose might dunk on you, Chris Paul's usually going to go with some type of floater or something like that. Where Derrick Rose is more of a scorer. Chris Paul, he can score, but he's also a distributor. Derrick Rose can pass, but I think he's more of a score-first type of guy. If you look at a guy like Rajon Rondo, he's more of a pass-first type of guy, more than both of those dudes because he doesn't score as much. But they all play the same position. They're all really fucking good. So there is no one way to play the game. You have to figure out what your game is first before you can say, oh, give me some moves for this. And I don't give you moves for anything. I've already given you 4,000 of them. I can stop right now. Every skill any one of you ever need is already on this YouTube channel. All y'all need to do is stop asking for it, stop looking for it, stop talking about it, and start doing the things you already know. Because I'm not telling any of you anything you don't already know, just the fact that you're not doing it. Reezy1517 says, what finger or fingers do you use to shoot the ball and lay up the ball? Reezy, you thinking way too damn much. If you want to shoot, just shoot it. If you need to make a layup, just make the layup. If you thinking that much what fingers to use, you probably are thinking your way out of being a good basketball player. Stop thinking so much and just play the game. Lamont Kinlaw says, are all players in NBA good is opportunity where they play or who their father is? Because I don't want to sound like an ignorant hood dude, but I've seen a lot of good ballers in my day, but none never make the hump. Well, Lamont is not always about there are players who are really good who don't get to certain levels. I know great players who never played in high school. I know great players who played high school but didn't play college. I know great players who played college who didn't play in the pros. I know great players in pros who didn't play in the NBA. So it's not always about skill. It is. Skill is a huge fucking part of it, but it's also about timing, opportunity, and things that people do off the court. Because sometimes, I'm sure everybody here watching this video knows somebody who was a great player on the court, but they did things off the court that cost them an opportunity to go higher in basketball, whether that be to college, high school, pro, or whatever level. So it's not always about skill, but skill is a huge fucking part of it. Jose Gabriel says, why the F aren't you NBA D-League player if you consider you have no weakness? Well, it's two parts to that. The first part is the psychological part. If you consider that you have a weakness in your game, number one, you damn sure better not tell nobody. And number two, if you consider that you have a weakness in your game, if you're going to tell somebody, they're probably going to use it against you. The psychological part of that is the same way that I remember one time that Monte Ellis's team was about to play against the Heat, and they was asking him, how you think you compare to Dwayne Wade? And Monte was like, I could do everything Dwayne Wade does. The only thing Dwayne Wade does more than me is he gets more shots. That's why he scores more points. And I thought it was ridiculous at first, because I'm like, no, there's no way that Monte Ellis is equal to Dwayne Wade. I'm sure most people would agree. But you got to go into his mindset, which is no way he could get on the court and play against Dwayne Wade and succeed if he's thinking that this guy's better than me in any way, shape, or form. You have to consider yourself to be the best at what you do no matter where you are right now. Don't just look at your current circumstance. Look at where you want to be. One of my favorite books is by this guy named Paul Arden. The book is titled, It's Not How Good You Are, It's How Good You Want to Be. If you see yourself as limited, you see yourself as having a weakness, or you see yourself as being below any other person for whatever reason, you'll never reach your highest level, or whatever your potential is, whatever you believe it is, or what somebody sees in you, if you're looking at yourself as having a weakness. So it's not really about does this person really not have a weakness? Every human being has weaknesses, whether that be psychological, emotional, physical. Every human being has a weakness if we're looking at it analytically. But if we're looking at it competitively, when you're on the court or getting ready to be on the court or thinking about being on the court or anything, whether you're a banker, a doctor, any type of businessman, a singer, a lawyer, a rapper, you can't think that nobody's better than you. You can't think that you have any weaknesses, because all that's going to do is weaken your mentality. It's going to weaken your subconscious. If you ever read a book or heard of a book called Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, he talks about this. You can't let any weak thoughts into your subconscious, because they get in there and they grow like weeds, and you don't even notice them if you allow those weak thoughts into your subconscious. So hopefully, Jose, that kind of answers your question. It's more of a psychological thing. It's not really a literal thing, if that makes sense. If it don't make sense, listen to what I said again. Keep listening till you get it. Next question. Training Oreo says, Dre, my knees have been bothering me lately when I play ball. I think it's because I have John Wall type speed on the court and I finish like Derrick Rose when driving. Well, that's a hell of a scouting report, Training. He says, in what ways could I help my knees not to hurt so bad? Could it be the cushioning in my shoes, awkward landing, or just from being athletic since I play lots of sports? Even through the pain, I always work on my fucking game. Well, first of all, Training Oreo, if you had John Wall type speed and you finished like Derrick Rose, I probably would have heard of you by now, and I don't think I've heard of you. But we gonna move on from that comment. If your knees are bothering you, I would suggest you try icing your knees after you work out. And things that you say, what could it be? Could it be the cushioning in your shoes, awkward landings, or from being athletic since you play a lot of sports? It could be all three. I'm not qualified to assess that and tell you why your knees are bothering you, and neither is anybody else in the YouTube comments. Comments like that seem to get commentators telling people what could be wrong with them. Listen, none of them are qualified to tell you, and I'm not either. If you really, really need to know a direct answer, you probably need to see a doctor. They're trained specialists on that. And this is your body, you only get one of them. If you really need to know and there's a real problem for you, I suggest you see a doctor. Don't see YouTube commentators. Or me. Kevin Wanada says, can I give him tips on how to be an ace? I don't know what an ace is, Kevin. Noah Parrish says, would I recommend training with a partner? Do you think you get the same effectiveness by yourself? You can do both. Some people work out with somebody else all the time. Some people work out by themselves all the time. Me, I prefer to work out by myself. But like I said, if you want to work out with somebody else, you can get results. In the end, all that matters is that you got the result of whatever it is your goal was. So if you reach your goal, working out with 5 other people, do it. If you reach your goal doing it by yourself, do it. Or a combination of both. Next question. El Dominicano says, I'm 19, I'm trying to pursue a career in pro basketball. I've been going hard in the gym for 6 months. Preparing for JUCO tryouts. I was cut because I played like absolute shit during the 5 to 10 minutes I was on the court. Regularly, I can compete with guys who play at D3 and D2 level, but I'm stuck as to who I should try and play for next. Are there any well-known leagues or semi-pro teams in New York where I can get noticed? Well, El Dominicano, first of all, I don't live in New York, and I never have, so I can't give you any direct experience information, but I'm sure since you're already on the internet, if you just Google that, you'll find plenty of teams. New York is a mecca of basketball. There's a lot of basketball played there all year round. So if there is a team to be found, New York is definitely a place where they will be. So I think you need to go to Google and find that. You're 19 years old. You need to take responsibility for figuring that out. Not even figuring it out, but finding that. You want to play for a team, you need to be responsible for finding that team. You're too old to have somebody else doing it for you. Kyle Cox. He didn't ask a question. Konstantin Dejanovic says, I'm 5'10", I can grab the rim when I jump off 2 feet, but when I jump off 1, I can only touch the rim. But all my friends, when they jump off 1, they grab the rim, but they can't when they jump off 2. And then he asked me why. Well, Konstantin, how the hell would I know? I can't explain any of you guys' performance to you if you can't explain it to me. Ahmed Vandalism says, when am I going to make a Dre story video? I got some more coming. I got some Dre stories written down right now that I just didn't record yet, but they are coming, trust me. DT Watt says, actually Raymond Fitch says, which drills would be good for my 8-year-old son? Well, Raymond, you got to ask me a much better question than that. I already addressed that. People ask me which drills should they do when I posted more basketball drill content than everybody else on YouTube put together. You got to come with a better question than that. DTALS1 says, are there any current NBA player that you think you are better than. Again, this goes back to the previous question, the psychological question. If I'm on the court and they're there, I think I'm better than everybody. If we're looking at it analytically, I would never say the player who never played in the NBA is better than anybody who is, because that's the best league in the world, and anybody who ever picked up a ball wants to play there. So if you haven't been there, you can't say you're better than somebody who is, because that's the ultimate place that anybody who plays ball would want to be if they had the chance. The Michael Cass says, this is my second year playing ball for my school team. I think I'm good overall and I work hard. My school has the best team, so how do I try and get more playing time with all the talent that we have? Well, Michael, go to your coach and ask him that same question that you just asked me, and you'll have your answer. 100% truthful answer from the guy who controls it. Air Game 15 says, Dre, I'm a great mid-range shooter. When I shoot from behind the arc, my form changes a bit because I'm trying to add more power. When I do that, it's hard to be accurate. What do I think he needs to do to shoot threes without trying so hard? Air Game, I suggest you take a look at the Shooting Secrets ebook by Pro Shot Shooting System. It's free, it's 150 pages, it has all the information on shooting you ever see. It's the best piece of shooting material I've ever seen, and at a cost of free you can't lose. Is dreallday.com/PSSS. That's Pro Shot Shooting System. Go there and read that entire book and you'll have your answer. Casey Murphy says, Dre, do you take any supplements like creatine? Sorry if you already made a vid on this. I have made vids on that because I've changed what I take over time. The only supplement I take right now is called MSM. That's M is in Monday, S is in Saturday, M is in Monday. And anybody want to know what that is or what it does, I suggest you look it up, Google it, and don't take it just because I take it because it will make sense for you. And if it doesn't make sense, you don't understand it, don't take it. Anthony Turner says, if I'm going to play alone, what should I start with and what do I end with? Anthony Turner, you got to ask me a much better question than that. Air Alert 33 says, Dre, I'm usually one of the tallest guys on the floor because I'm 6 feet 4 inches tall, but I have to do the most of the ball handling and attacking because my team isn't very good. How do I attack smaller defenders from the perimeter? Same way you attack any other defender, Air Alert. Look at the drills that I posted, driving moves playlist. I already mentioned there's over 700 drills there. If you do every one of those drills, you'll have plenty of skills and you won't have to ask, how do I attack? Any of you, Air Alert 33 and anybody else, if you had to ask the question, how do I attack this player? What do I do in this game situation? That means two things are missing from your game. Number one, you have not practiced enough because you have not developed the skills to attack without thinking about it. And number two, you have not played enough because you don't have the game experience to play off instant. So those are two things that you are 100% in control of. It has nothing to do with me or a coach or your opponent or YouTube. You need to get on the court and do the work. Raul Marmolejo says, I ever thought about doing the LeBron time workout? No, I have not. Rokas says, what is your favorite movie? Is it Semi-Pro? No, Semi-Pro is not my favorite movie. I've never even seen that. My favorite movie would be Ocean's 11. BK Swear says, I live where there's no gym available. I still practice outside, but when I see all these guys on Ball is Life and stuff in the gym putting in work with trainers, I feel like I'm at a disadvantage. Could I still become better than them? Well, BK Swear, BSK Ware is his name actually. This goes back to the previous statement that I made. If all you have is an outdoor court, you don't have an indoor court, you don't have any money to pay for anything special, any special training equipment, you don't have a trainer, or whatever other excuses any of you have, what does it matter what somebody else has? All you have is an outdoor court and a ball, and the court's 9 feet tall, and the court has cracks in it, and that's all you got. What the hell does it matter what anybody else got? You need to work with what you have. Don't use that as an excuse. Don't use an excuse what somebody else got, what you don't have, how messed up your situation is, because you know what all of that does? Again, goes back to Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. I actually listened to the audio of this book. I don't usually listen to audio books, but anyway, one thing he talks about, you allow those weak thoughts to enter your subconscious, and when you talk about weak things, when you talk weakness for yourself, you're actually putting that in your subconscious, and it stays there forever unless you can root it out. And that takes a lot of work to root out those weeds of negativity. When you put that into your brain, it's going to manifest itself in its physical form. So it's not about worrying about what nobody else got. It's not about Ball is Life or nobody in the gym and nobody with a trainer. It's not about YouTube. It's all about you. What you have is an outdoor court where you practice outside. It's not about not having a gym available. It's about working with what you have, focusing on what you want, not what you don't want, not what you don't have, not what anybody else got. Focus on you 100% and doing what you need to do and your goals, not anybody else's, but yours, and you'll get to where you need to be. So that's the answer to your question. Zombie Ops 3 says, before I ask my question, I want to say I appreciate the time you take for each and every one of these Q&As. Well, Zombie, you're welcome. And he says, I can't roll the ball. I find it hard to roll my ball off my fingers when I shoot. I feel like I'm pushing the ball. I need to change my shot ASAP. I want to see if there's any certain things I need to do to fully develop a perfect shot. Well, first of all, he said, thanks to keep up the amazing work. All right, Zombie Ops, I don't know what you call a perfect shot. There's no such thing as a perfect shot. Perfect is subjective, which means I could say making 100 shots a day is perfect, where somebody else might say making 1,000 shots a day is perfect. So perfect is very subjective. So there's no such thing as a perfect shot, and what I consider perfect will not be what you consider perfect. So you had to first of all define what a perfect shot is, and second of all, once you define what it is, start practicing it, and then you'll have exactly what you wanted. So there's nothing that you need to be told. You don't need any tips. You don't need to watch no YouTube videos. You don't need any advice. You already know exactly what you're having problems with, so why are you not working on it? And as far as your shot goes, refer to that book that I mentioned earlier from Pro Shot Shooting System. Coach Hoover, good guy, did a Q&A with him. If you didn't see it, it's a 2-part Q&A. DreAllDay.com/PSSS for Pro Shot Shooting System. That's a 150-page ebook with every piece of shooting information, advice, tip that any of you need. Read the book. It's completely free, so people don't see the value in it because it's free. If that book was $100, which it very well could be, people will read it. But since it's free, people just keep ignoring it. I done said it every video for about 10 weeks straight. People keep asking me the same questions. Darren Laura says, how can I earn more minutes if I'm small, 5'8", skinny, 100 pounds, and I'm slow like Yao Ming? Well, first of all, Darren, and he says he was joking about Yao Ming. What does it matter what size and how much you weigh? Can you play? If you can play, you'll get more minutes. And if you're not sure what the issue is, and you're talking about earning more minutes, it means you're on a team which has a coach, because coaches determine who gets minutes. So that means you have a coach. So take that exact statement that you said to me, that you wrote in this YouTube comment, memorize it, and go say it to your coach, and he'll tell you exactly what you can do. eZiggy1000 says, in tryouts, creating your own shots the most important things. He says, is creating your own shot the most important thing? Because the scrimmages I only score when I get easy looks. eZiggy, no, that's not the most important thing. And I just made a video about a week and a half ago about what you need to do to make the team at tryouts. So eZiggy, you need to watch that video, because obviously you didn't watch it. And any of you watch basketball, you know that not every player on the team is going to be creating their own shots. It's usually 1 to 2 people, maybe 3, who get to basically freelance and do their thing as far as creating shots. Everybody else has a role to play. But watch that video where I already address this. Jared Cruz says, you're going to try out for another D-League team. We'll see. Dimitri Tukovic says, what are your top 5 50 Cent songs? I'll have to think about that a little bit longer. Dimitri, I'm not going to address that here. Raul asked me a second question. We address one question per person here, so if you posted more than one question, I'm going to address the first one you say, not the second one. Drake Josh says, do I like the KD 7, LeBron 12, or the Kobe 9 best? I actually have not worn nor played in any one of those 3 shoes. Frosty Brett says, you ever felt like you hated basketball or thought of quitting for good? Excuse me, closest I ever came to quitting basketball was probably when I got cut from varsity in 11th grade as a junior, and I wrote about this in detail in my book, which is called Buy a Game, Buygame. That's the closest I ever thought about quitting, but obviously I didn't quit. Amazing One says, how can you get girls to like you and get a girlfriend? You need to be 100% yourself, Amazing One. There's somebody out there, probably a bunch of people out there for you, but you got to be yourself. Don't try to be anybody else. And I'll address that. I'm going to write a book actually about that, and probably get to addressing that on one of my other channels. This is more basketball channel, obviously. I will address that on a different channel in the future, but just remind me whenever I announce that I'm going to do more of those videos. I started doing a few and then I stopped. Let me know that question again. DCIZ is paid. DC is paid. Do I think the N1 movement is dead? I guess he's referring to N1, the street ball company Yeah, pretty much. I haven't heard anything from N1 in a long time, and most of their players moved on. They're doing the exact same thing, but it's with a different company. So the N1 movement, yeah, it's been dead for a long time. The company itself, I don't think is dead, but the movement, yeah, it's been dead for a while. NBA General says, how do I think D Wade will play this year? Do I think with LeBron gone, he could dominate and score 23 to 24 points a game? How many assists do I think will average? I'm a big D Wade fan, which you'll see once I put out the top 5 at each position in the next couple weeks. I think Dwayne Wade will be great this year if he's 100% healthy, which we have no idea of. I don't know if him sitting out these games and all that shit is a permanent thing or if it was a temporary thing last year. That is really the determining factor of how good he's going to be and how well the Heat will perform in general. I don't know if he's 100% or not. We won't know prior to the game start, probably a month or 2 into the season, to see if he's playing every night and how much. But I think he can, yes. And can he score 23 or 24 a game? Absolutely, of course. How many assists do I think he'll get? I think he'll get between 5 and 7 assists a game, being he's a ball-dominant guard. Joey Long. We only got 2 questions left, y'all. Joey Long says, I'm wondering, since you probably work out every day and all. Yeah, I do. He says, how does your body get through it all? Do you ever feel tight in your legs after a long day of working out? How do you prevent your muscles being so tight and stuff at the game workout? That's actually a good question, Joey. How do you get through it all? First of all, you got to take care of your body. I was just reading this article by Tim Grover, and he said, when you get into your 30s, I'm 32 years old for those who don't know, your body deteriorates from the inside out, not from the outside in. So once you see somebody and they look old, they already started to be old inside before you could physically see them that manifested. And that has to do with how you take care of your body when you're young, which means drinking a good amount of fluids, water in particular, not any other fluid. Drinking a good amount of water, stretching, icing your joints, especially your knees. As basketball players, when your knees go, you go. That's the exact thing I tell people all the time. Icing, stretching, foam rolling. Anybody don't know what foam rolling is? I should make a video on foam rolling. I will eventually. But you can look up on YouTube. You'll see plenty of videos on foam rolling. You can buy a foam roller off Amazon.com for like $10. They're not expensive at all. Or at your favorite sporting goods store for like $20 in the store. Foam rolling, icing, stretching. Yoga is something that I picked up over the last couple years. And it's not a lot of yoga. It's not like an hour-long yoga class. I'm talking 10 to 20 minutes of yoga a day, which you could do by yourself at home. There are plenty of videos on YouTube where you could do a yoga practice just following a video. It costs you no money. These are all things that cost $10 or less. Yoga, stretching, foam rolling, icing, fluids. Those 5 things will help your body get through stuff and come up with a routine. You need to come up with a routine of how you're going to train, how you're going to work out, how much you're going to work out, so your body can get used to it, so it can compound results. If you're changing it up every day, every week, every month, your body won't get used to it, won't get into a routine, you won't get compounded results because you're always changing stuff. So figure out how you're going to do it and do those 5 things and you'll be good. Last question, Jeff Johnson says, I'm 13 years old, I'm in 8th grade, I'm a good shooter, but I tend to lose my shooting touch when I don't go to the gym due to them having other activities Monday through Friday. Do you have any shooting tips that I can do at home? That's a good question. I think you can work on your shooting form with or without the ball, even if you're not shooting at a basket. Just work on getting that shot up, your form. And also take a look at that book that I mentioned 3 times already, dreallday.com/PSSS. That has some tips about working on your shooting even when you're not on a basketball court. That'd be very good for you, Jeff. So that's it. Thank you everybody for the questions. 40-minute video. Very good questions this week. I'm impressed with the fact that y'all 40 weeks in, y'all still coming to me with good quality questions. No bullshit. So please keep this going. If you have a question you want me to address in the next Q&A, leave it in the comments to this video. Remember, I only address 1 question per person. So if you post more than 1, I'm only addressing the first one you ask. The second one will be ignored, because we want to make sure I get to everybody's question. Again, the fundamentals, I'm going to let y'all know about that. It'll be posted on all my social and on my website. The NBA previews are coming up soon. My books, any of you who like to read books, Buy a Game, The Super You, The Mirror Motivation, and The Mental Handbook. 4 books that I've written. They are available both in digital format and in hard copy. Paperback, they're available. Amazon.com, dreallday.com/Amazon. That's it. That's all. Work on your fucking game. dreallday.com. Thanks for checking out this video. Make sure you check back next week for another Q&A video where I take your questions. All my most popular videos are up here. Follow me on your favorite social networks over here, and make sure you are subscribed to catch all my new content coming out every day on this channel. Work on your game.